Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for Bebe Winans! The Beebs. Anybody call you that? The Beebs.
You probably called me that before. You call me everything.
Come on, have a seat, man.
How are you, sir?
Man, I'm very well. I'm curious about the whole swag, man. Your swag is just always on a billion. What is that? Do you do it yourself or what?
I do it myself. I think about where I'm going, and then I put on some clothes.
All right.
Just that easy. Just that easy.
There you go. And we talked about the beard.
For some people, though.
Okay, there you go. I knew it was coming. I knew it was going to pop up there somewhere. So we talked about the beard, man. So you rock the beard. So you are holding the beard now because the compliments at this point, huh? The compliments are wearing you out, ain't
No.
they?
Honestly,
The compliments ain't wearing you out.
Well, the compliments are wearing me out. But at the same time, my beard grows like a wolf. So I can cut it off today, and it'll be back in 2 days. So my face was on fire. I used to cut it a lot.
Really?
Yes, my face was on fire from just, shaving. And I thought, no, we're going to stop that. And so this, I don't want my face on fire.
There you go, man. That's some good stuff. Hey, first of all, do y'all have the project, the Bebe Winans project? Listen. This thing is amazing. Bebe said it is his your best project yet. Like, why do you feel like it's your best, though? You've done some real good stuff, brother.
I really think the older you get, the more wisdom that comes with that, the more journey I have to talk about. So I've put my journey, it's been a long time, into this work. And so I think it's better because I understand more about who God is. I understand more about who I am and what he's called me to do. And I think people are looking for those answers, and I packaged it up in this CD.
I think you personify something, man, that I believe wholeheartedly, and that is that older is better. Because the truth is, it's not that young is not good, but think about it. When you're younger, you don't have the assets that you have. You don't have the money. You don't have the experience. You don't have a lot of stuff. So when you get older, if you can be like you and maintain your health and look good, when you get older, man, you winning. Your credit score is right.
What? Yes.
Right? What's your credit score?
It's right.
None of your business. Okay.
I can go anywhere and buy what I want, and
good,
not be
man.
held back. But no, it's true. The Bible says he called the young man because of his strength, but he called the older because of the wisdom and everything that comes along with age. And so I can look back and tell the young person, now you don't want to go around that corner because on that corner you're going to get bit. But at the same time, to be blessed to have life, to have my health and strength, to understand who I am, because in your 40s you almost start to understand who you are, but you're definitely not that 22-year-old.
Indeed.
Indeed. But I will be 57 in 13 days.
Whoa! I wasn't ready for that.
13 days, I'll be 57, and man, I wouldn't trade that in for nothing.
No, looking like you, brother, I wouldn't trade it in either. Yeah, you can take this 46 if I can look like Bebe. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Hey, man, so when you talk about the younger generation, this culture, I think we all understand the music is different now.
Right.
I don't want to put bad or right or wrong or anything on that. I will say, what would you want to give this culture of music that you currently possess? What would you want to give this culture of music now? Because you've been in the ranks for a long time. You've had some hits, written some hits, performed some hits, the whole nine, and you're still doing it on a high level. But there are some, no digs and no names, they don't possess that. What is that you would wish you could give?
I would give experience. A lot of artists, that's a hard one, and it's true though. But a lot of artists didn't go to second grade. They skipped fourth grade.
I see where you're going.
And they went straight to 12th grade. And so they missed a lot of things in those classes that we learned. Before anybody heard of Bebe, my father said it like this. Before you're international, you got to be national. Before you're national, you got to be regional. Before you're not, regional, you got to be Loco. And so what I'm saying is we sang at all these levels and learned
Come on.
how to present a song.
Yeah.
And so you have people on stage that look uncomfortable, and it's like, well, my God, didn't you know you was going to the stage? But we learned that in the second grade.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I would give, anybody and everybody who's desiring to do what we do and go to class.
People want the end result, and they don't want the process.
Exactly.
Because the process is, I was reading this book the other day. I forget what the name of the book was, but it talks about the value of process and how you have to fall in love with the process.
Have to.
And at first, the process doesn't feel good, but you do it until you fall in love with it. Like, for instance, you. When you lost that weight, BB, and you have kept it off, I would imagine it's because you have fallen in love with the process.
Yes.
Is that true?
It's very true. It's very true. I'll say it the way Maya Angelou said. She said, BB, everybody wants to be at the top, but it's not the top. She said, enjoy the struggle. Enjoy the struggle, because it's in the struggle you find out who you are. It's in the struggle you find out who God is. And in the struggle you find out who people are. So enjoy the struggle. So even in weight loss, there's a struggle there. Oh yeah, you got to look at French fries, and you got to look at my weight gain. You got to look at this, and you got to look at that, and it's like, oh, I hear cookies calling.
Right. Come on, cookies.
Yeah, come on, cookies. But I don't want to look like a cookie. So
right, donut.
So yeah. So all those things but I have control now.
Yeah, man.
I have self-discipline now over that French fry. I wrote a song. It's so funny. Through this whole weight loss, you brought.
Come on, I want to hear the song now.
You brought it up, and so I remember. I'm in the groove of it now. So some good friends in Detroit, I went to dinner with him, and in this restaurant, they didn't have desserts. And so the waiter said, if you go across the street, there's a bakery. They have everything. And they said, okay. So we went across the street. I don't even know why I'm going to do this. We went across the street, and it was just wall-to-wall bakery.
Like
And
pastries and stuff?
Pastries. I mean, just everything you can imagine. And so I stood there, and I said, this place ain't your friend.
Yeah.
This place is not your friend. Now you can visit every now and then, but this place ain't your friend.
Yeah.
No, this place ain't your friend. Baby, this place ain't your friend.
Yeah.
'Cause if you come too much, you'll have a big end.
That ain't rhyme though, baby. I got you. Where you going with it?
Ain't your friend.
Come on, in the same place.
Come
ain't your
on
friend.
now.
That's a hit that we be playing next week on Praise 102.5.
And you just go from there to French
Yeah,
fries. Ain't your friend.
Wow, come
Oh,
on.
just call it out. Call it out. So
Come
I
on.
realized, you know what? If I want to get there, I got to enjoy the struggle. I have to enjoy the process. And because of that, I can keep it off.
Okay. So you can't control the end result. And a lot of us try to control the end result in our lives, from whether it's 40 pounds or whether it's, being a millionaire. The only thing you can control is what you do with the next step.
Yes.
You can control getting up in the morning and making the trip to the gym. You can control that. You
Yes.
can control this French fry. That ain't your friend, by the way. You can control whether or not you put that in your mouth or not. So
Yeah.
it's not about focusing on the end result. It's focusing on the next step that you're going to take.
Day to day.
Yeah, man.
Minute to minute. And I've learned also to enjoy every moment of life. I remember losing my brother. Now it's like 15 years ago.
Wow,
but
man.
one of the things that came to the forefront was the moments we spent.
Okay.
And so sometimes we lose focus of each minute because we're years down the road of what we want to be and where we want to go, and that's not promised. So we're not in control of tomorrow.
Yeah.
We're not in control of next minute. So I've learned to enjoy each moment and each minute because that's what I live for.
The pain of losing Ron, man, it really rocked the nation, brother. How did y'all even get past that?
That
'Cause-
rocked my world.
Yeah.
I actually left the country and went to another country I'd never been before where they didn't even speak, well, some spoke English, but I didn't want to hear anybody say to me, my condolences. I didn't
I'm
even
on
want to
that
hear
same
that no
page.
more.
Tell me why. You tell me why from your perspective.
Because it caused me to remember, and it just stirred the pain.
Yeah, okay.
And so when I got back, a friend told me to go see this grief counselor. So I went to see a grief counselor, and I'm telling you, it was the best thing I've ever did. She sat there, and she lived in a part of Africa where she said, we get it wrong here. We lose somebody, and we think we have to say the right things. We have to quote scriptures. We have to do all that. She said in the country she lived in, when someone lost a loved one, the community would all just come together and sit there in silence. Didn't say anything. And when the person would cry, they would cry. If the person would laugh, they would laugh.
Okay.
But they didn't say anything. They just was there. And then she said this to me, and I never will forget, and I tell others who are going through loss. She said, there's a number on all of our heads. She said, and the higher the number, the easier it's for us to get our arms around it. So if we lose a loved one and they're 99,
That makes sense.
we can put our arms around
I get it.
But when the number starts to get lower, it's hard to get that arm around.
Yeah.
When you lose someone at 41, you lose someone at 8, and so and so. She said, but that was their number. She said, the number on your head, we don't know. But I guarantee you, your brother who you loved would not want you to waste any of your days trying to add to his days, because his number was 48.
But it does get better?
Oh, you learn to live a different, happy life.
Okay.
You know, I long for him days. There's some days that his birthday will go by, or a thought, and I'll break down like it's yesterday.
Yeah.
But then the laughter will come back. And it's the laughter, those moments, that has healed my heart and caused me to get strength to continue on.
What do you feel when you hear his music?
Oh, the other day I was running in the park, and he came on, wherever I go, let your spirit follow me. And I just grinned. I just laughed, and I grinned, because I knew his heart.
Yeah,
so
man.
beyond the song, I thought of him, of his character and what he would do and how he would do and how he sung the song. So, it causes me to smile most of the time, but there are times I'll just sit there and cry.
So people ask me all the time, "Hey man, that BB and CC, when they gonna get back together?" First of all, I didn't know that. I didn't know they broke up. Like, first of all, when, did y'all break up?
We didn't break up, and actually on October the 11th, we'll be in Detroit. We're singing for my brother Marvin. And so there are times we do things together. BB and CC not going on tour or anything like that. You know why, right?
I don't know.
Because I'm allergic.
Hey, okay, you know what? Come on, man. You can't mess up my thing. So BB said in the studio, I don't know if he gonna say it like he said it, but I asked him, "Hey, man, when you're going on tour, what's your thing about going on tour?"
I said I'm allergic to the word tour.
So here's the thing. What y'all don't, you may know, you may not know. A lot of artists make the majority of their money from going on tour. That's how they make a lot of their money.
Yes.
So when you rich, you ain't really got to go on tour. So I asked him, I said, BB, are you rich? BB said,
I was poor once, and I know how to make a mayonnaise sandwich.
come on, buddies. Come on, mayonnaise.
Huh? Oh, yes. Come on, I come from a family of 10. You had to be creative.
BB said he can make it taste like a turkey sandwich. Now, I've never seen that before. I need to know what you sprinkling on it to make that work. But I'm gonna need to get that recipe from you.
But I believe this. I really do believe this. That God is not broke. He's not broke.
Yeah, man.
So I serve a God, and he told me that he would give me the desires of my heart. And I said, when I was younger, I'm not gonna be on tour when I'm 50 and 70 and everything. And the God that I serve can take care of me. Oh! And he is taking care of me.
But I see you around people, and I know you love fans. I know you love people. So it's not so much that, but what is it that
It's
makes
the-
you feel
the-
some type of way about touring?
Airplanes, trains,
The hustle.
automobiles. You in different cities every night. You just like, huh? I remember me and Cece were on tour. This is years ago, 50, and I was saying things like, "Good evening, Charlotte," and Cece said, "Bebe, we're in Alabama."
Wait a minute.
Good evening, Alabama, because you
Yeah.
lose time, and so that is for the younger people or the young at heart. I'm
Or the
just
people
not-
that look like they're young.
You the one that said it. You the one started it.
I'm talking about you. So-
no,
I got to
I
get
do.
the
But
story.
tell them what I do. Not tours, but I
You do appearances.
Thank you.
So if you need Bebe Winans, what camera am I on? He's available. Coming to a city near you to make an appearance. You got to tell this story before we get into this album.
Yes.
The craziest fan story, and I got to ask you on camera because I've never heard this story before.
Yeah, we hadn't talked since. Well, no, we talked. But life is kind of crazy these days. With the media outlets, people really think they're your friend because they're your friend on Facebook. It's like, what are you?
Well, you're the
talking about?
Zaddy,
Yeah.
Yeah. You wasn't ready. You wasn't ready. You can't tell me stuff I don't know. You don't know.
Yo, see, I don't know where you're going.
So
and
Bebe
everything.
don't know. So okay, here's the thing.
Yeah.
So
Go ahead.
Bebe is getting used to these people sliding in his DM, talking to him, and so he's been hearing Zaddy more often than not. Can anybody help me understand what a Zaddy is?
I didn't know what a Zaddy
You know what
was.
a Zaddy is?
Somebody
Y'all know what
called
a
me
Zaddy
a
is?
Zaddy.
What's a Zaddy? Look at her. She said, first of all, I got you.
Okay, but the people over here don't know. Y'all don't know what it. I didn't know what
So
a
tell
Zaddy
me, in my
was.
spirit, I know what it
But
is, but I don't
somebody
really
told
want
me,
to jump out there with it.
You a Zaddy. What's that? My Zaddy.
A zaddy is
Come on over here. I got you got to get in the microphone. Come on here. Tell everybody what, in the spirit, what the Zaddy is to the Church of God in Christ.
God called me to tell y'all that a zaddy is an older man who is really fine, probably dressed nice, and so you instead of calling him daddy, you can say zaddy because it's supposed to be sexual. Yeah, he's more mature, so it's like it's a compliment.
Let the church.
It's
let
a
the
compliment
church
from
say
like
amen.
the millennials. The millennials made that term up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So okay. So older guy who looks good, has got a beard, from the Winans family, and
Probably got a lot of money too.
right. So Zaddy, there you go. I'm not gonna ever call you Zaddy. I'm just
No,
saying.
that's
I
okay,
would
that's
imagine
okay.
that's somebody.
A song just popped into my head that Marvin sang.
Give
Let
it to
the
me.
church say amen.
Well, then there's that. Bring it back to the cross, Bebe. Bring it back to the cross. This project, man, this is the reason why people call me a Zaddy, because of this picture that's on the cover. Come on, man. So you said this is your best project, man. Tell me, of course, we know laughter is good like
Yes.
medicine. We got that part. But when
He
it comes down
promised
to
me. He promised
right,
me.
so why is this the best one?
There's a song. There's more than just a song, but the name of the album is "Need You."
Need you,
Right?
yes.
And so any and everything that I've ever written and talked about, I understood what God meant in my natural world as well. Some people want to get so spiritual that they don't think they have to work. But if you live in this world, you got to work if
Right.
you want to eat. That's what the Bible says. So at the end of the day, though, in relationships, have you ever been able to tell someone, I love you? Very easy to tell someone, I love you, especially if you know they love you. But can you tell someone, I need you? Because that opens up another door and you become vulnerable
You have
when
to be
that
vulnerable.
person knows you need them. Okay? And it's the same thing with me, with God. Getting to that place where I could really say, Lord, I need you. I can't do it on with my talent, because sometimes we think we can do it because we'll pray for God to do something,
Yeah.
and then we'll tell him, get out the way. I can
about
do this.
that?
I can handle this
Yeah.
on my own. And so understanding how much I need him makes me vulnerable to his will and not mine.
Okay.
And so this BB at 57 knows a little bit more what it is to need God. And so in that song and in various other songs, I think it's my best work because it's my most honest work and it is my most knowledgeable work that and we still haven't lost the grooves.
Okay.
I think you can say all that with grooves like Lost Without You and grooves like Addictive Love.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
there's those grooves is right in there too.
And then you did. Is this a cover, or is this your version
it's-
of
it's
Luther Vandross's
it's
"Power
a-
of Love"?
It's a cover.
Really?
Yes. And if you look around in the world and you read and you see what's on television, we are in need of the power of love.
Wow, man.
In a world that is so full of hate. And so that was a hard one to do, not only because it was a classic Luther, but Luther was a dear friend. You know, speaking of addictive love, what me and Luther used to do, and a lot of people didn't know this, but we would fly into the different cities and we would listen to each other's albums and drive around and pick each other's singles. So it was addictive love that Luther said, okay, after listening to the whole album, he said addictive love, that's the first single.
Really?
And that's one of the reasons why I released Addictive Love as our first single off of that album. And so it was very therapeutic for me to sing it because he passed in the same year as my brother, about maybe a month or so later, and that was devastating for me. I didn't even get a chance. I didn't go to the funeral because I couldn't imagine it.
Okay.
And so this was therapeutic to do this song, but also just a beautiful song that I'm glad I did.
Yeah. So, of course, you have a whole lot of friends, Luther, man. But being friends with Oprah, and so, like, what do you call Oprah for now? Just to say, hey, girl, what's going on? What y'all talk about?
We would, you know, when the fires happened in Santa Barbara, and a lot of the houses were destroyed and everything, the mud came into, you know, her back door.
Wow.
I called her to talk, and, you know, blessings to you on that one. But at the same time, you know, we don't put our faith in wealth. And we don't put our faith in things because that can be taken away no matter where you live or what you have. And so we'll talk about different events that's going on.
You have to call her? You have to have a reason to call her, or you just call her just for nothing?
No, and she doesn't have a reason to call me, but I know when it's her. And when she calls, it's usually, what do you want me to do? Because there's something she's working on. Okay. But friends for 30-something years now.
Good stuff, man. So, again, this project, you got cover from Luther. I didn't know that Laughter, Korean Soul.
Korean Soul. You close your eyes and you think you listen to four brothers from Brooklyn.
That's crazy, man.
But
that's crazy.
Incredible singers and incredible hearts. So I'm excited. When we do some appearances, they're coming over from Korea to be a part of it.
But it won't be a tour. It will just be
appearances.
There you go. And this farewell, well done, Donnie McClurkin's mother.
His mom, Frances, when he was very, very close to his mother, just like I'm very, very close to mine. And when she passed, I was in New York, and I called him, spoke for a minute, and when we hung up, I wrote that song. So it was dedicated to his mom. And actually sang the song at the funeral, and thought when I was doing this record, we need something that we can lean on when we lose our loved ones, you know. And so Erica Campbell, a good friend who had just lost a dear friend, I sent her the song, and she called me back and said, "Bebe, this has lifted me, and can I send this to the individual's mother?" And I gave her permission to do so. So it's a song there for those moments as well, because, you know, we lose loved ones. We go through bereavement. Okay. And so to have something to lean on in music, I think was very important for me.
Good stuff. So one more question before I take it to the audience to see if you guys have some questions you want to ask Bebe. But did it ever impact you from a long-lasting perspective? Because I know it had to impact you when people were adamant that you guys, you and CeCe, or just even you, were not a gospel artist.
Never affected me. And I really mean that because my
you heard
father,
it, though.
I heard it constantly and would read it constantly. I remember when me and CeCe, we were doing an autograph session, and there was this girl a bit further back, and I saw her, and I remember leaning over to CeCe and saying, "We got one coming." And so when she called,
was she a tambourine?
Well, no, she had a big coffee table Bible.
Oh,
you know,
come on,
and so I just knew, okay, here's one. And so she came up to the table and she said, "Hi," and I said, "Hi, how you doing?" She said, "I just wanted to come and tell you, the Lord told me to tell you that you guys' music is of the devil."
Oh, she was so sweet with it.
Yeah,
though.
she was sweet with it. Oh. And I said, "Okay, thank you very much. Okay, now keep on walking, because we." She said, "No, but can you sign my?" I said, "You want the devil
to sign the word of God?
Come on, you really?" So you know, you get used
That's
to
crazy.
various things. But my father always said, before my children leave my house, you're going to know who you are. So when you get out into the world and they say who you are, you won't believe them.
That's what you said last time. Yeah, that's crazy, man. I know that was my last question, but the last question before the last question. Okay. You never told me about that crazy fan experience. Well, you told me. I want you to tell them.
Well, we live in a different world with the media, outlets and Facebook and all these things. So long story short, I was in Los Angeles and my assistant worked out of my home. Actually, the run of the musical in Los Angeles. And so I talked to her early that morning, and then later on she forgot and she texted me something. And she said, I forgot to tell you your guest is at your house. And I was like, what guest is at my house? Your friend from Florida.
Florida.
No.
Florida woman now,
You need
apparently.
to get back to my house. And so I called another friend, and then I called a friend who works for the police department. I said, get to my house because I don't know who's at my house. And so my nephew got there earlier, and there was a Puerto Rican woman at my house in her pajamas watching television.
Her pajamas?
In her pajamas.
Okay, well, at least it was her
watching
pajamas.
television in my bonus room. And she had been there after the cops got there. This was a Monday. She had been there since Friday. She had broke into my house.
A weekend at
made-
DD's. There you go.
And so said to the police, I invited her. I didn't know who this woman was, and that we were in a relationship. I didn't know who that woman was. But long story short, she was talking to someone through Facebook, and they call it catfishing. And so she really thought she was talking to me. But at the same time, in reading all the emails or the things going back and forth, it never gave her my address. And so therefore, she sought out my address and then broke in my home. And so the funny part of that story
that ain't really funny,
is
though.
the funny part of that
That's
story though.
scary.
I was telling my mother. My mother is Queen Worry. It's like, Mom, we older now. But my mother was like, Bebe, you got it, because I don't live in a gated community, and so I knew for sure she was going to say, you got to move into a gated community. And my mother went to say, she said, you got to get big again. You got to get fat again. I was like, Mama, she said, these people weren't after you when you was heavy. I said, I'll move into a gated community before I do that. But no, that's the reality. And then I had another incident. Kind of crazy.
I love your mama. Just throw that out there real quick. I love your mama. Oh, my goodness. So that's I didn't know that part of the story.
Yeah. No.
Oh.
Kind of crazy. But God is a
were in pajamas, though.
protector,
That's a
protector,
good thing.
protector. Huh?
Okay. All right, I heard the song written
You heard the song?
like that, yeah. Protector, protector, protector. Any questions from the audience? Huh?
Yes.
Outside of your music, what type of community service you do, and what impact does it have on that community?
Community service.
Mental health or contributions?
Well, one of the things that I've always been after going down this journey is fitness. Even on my Instagram, I say every time, a thing called Get It Done. But I have young people that at the YMCA, that I'm just trying my best to let the world know, and everybody that's in my community, that exercise is profitable. And it's not just profitable on how you look or how you feel, but mentally it is therapeutic. And so a lot of times before I get on email or answer a phone call, this and that, I run. Especially if it's a stressful phone call, I will exercise, and people don't understand the value of that.
Oxygen to the brain. Yeah,
Oh,
man.
Unbelievable. So that's what I'm doing outside of that. I think it's so important. I've been visiting people in prison.
Wow.
It's so important just to do little things that the Bible tells us when we do it to the least of them, we do it unto Him. And so visit the people that are in prison. Visit the people that are in the hospital. You don't even have to know their names, but you're blessed by it. I'm blessed by it when I take out time and do things like that.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Good stuff. Any questions? Any others? Hi.
I have a comment. Bebe, first of all, we don't get older, we get mature. That's number one.
Oh, what we get mature is old, but I rest in that. Go ahead.
Secondly, the CD was so worth the wait. You did a
Thank
great job
you.
with Born for This.
Thank you.
Luther so well. You did him proud.
Thank you.
Farewell is one of my favorite songs. And then lastly,
Oh yeah.
Your CD, that song, Born for This, it kind of stopped me in my tracks because you have this line in there that says destined for greatness. I've had a
Yes.
keychain since I was 16 that's all tarnished now, and I still have it. The ballet has the key. It says destined for greatness. If nobody else believes that but me, I am destined for whatever I'm supposed to be here for, what my time has been here for. And your music that from your family has blessed my entire life. And thank you for not doing a tour, but doing an appearance.
Yeah.
Allowing me to partake in this. And thank you.
Ah, thank you.
Bowe, you almost made me wreck my car yesterday playing that song. Don't do that again.
I don't want to make you go, but I would say we ain't got no valet, so I don't know who you gave your keys to. We don't got no valet.
But if everybody would just grab onto that, right, and just know that you are destined for greatness. You are destined, no matter where you were born, no matter what
Nissan
you're
of
going
Union
through,
City, they got great cars out there.
destined for greatness.
We ain't got no car. All right. Y'all laughing, but okay, she sure ain't getting it. I think we may have somebody over there. I'm just messing with you. Okay, good. Go ahead, sis.
You said you're about to turn 57.
Yes.
What are you planning to do for your
It's called, when you get to certain ages for birthdays, it's called birthday rest. I'm not doing nothing. At 60, that'll be another milestone. I had a big dinner when we turned 50, and that went fast. But I live like it's my birthday every day. I don't wait for anything. I really do celebrate life.
What does that
If I
mean,
can
though?
Inhale, huh?
What does that mean?
I can
for
go
you?
to dinner. For me,
Yeah.
I take myself to dinner to find a fine cuisine. I will, sit back or travel somewhere I haven't been before, and live in those moments, because tomorrow I really do live like tomorrow's not promised to me. I speak to my children. I make sure I speak to my children and love on them, because they're not promised to me.
Yeah, man, that's
We
good.
gotta not take each other for granted, and I think that's important.
Good stuff. Couple more here.
Are you gonna bring Born for This back? I saw it when you were here the first time, and I loved it so much. I saw it twice in one day.
Thank you.
So I'm just wondering if you're going to
Oh, can't wait to bring it back. But we're about to move into that Broadway performance in 2020, and after Broadway, then we plan to tour the whole country. And so we're definitely coming back to Atlanta. But it has evolved so much more since you saw it here in Atlanta. So I'm excited to bring it back to Atlanta.
Two more. Come on.
I rap and I sing, and I wanted to know, like, what advice would you have for somebody who's like just starting out and like trying to get out there and like keep up, like keep themselves encouraged and like be consistent? Like, what would you tell them?
To be determined, to allow the no's, because there will be a lot of no's, and a lot of times new artists and various other, they get discouraged when they hear no. But if you can train your ear to hear yes when you hear no, you will reach every goal and dream you have. All right? So when they say no, we're not. Don't fight them, because there's another door. But just let that ring yes. And that's been my ammo. No's have fueled my yeses.
That's good, man. Oh, that's good. I got to process that. That's pretty good.
It's
Because
true.
with every no, with every problem, there's a possibility.
Yes, it is.
And so if the problem exists, then the possibility also must exist. So instead of focusing on the problem, focus on the possibility that's right there next to the problem.
Look, what I was taught and believed was this: problem, trials. The Bible says before the trial gets there, he's already made a way of escape.
You've been reading your word, BB.
Come on now.
Okay, I'm just saying. You
You
read
know,
your
I
word.
know him. Just don't know about him. I know him. So, so that I believe. So every problem, there is already the problem solved.
I love it, man. Sis?
The CD that you made with the three Winans, do you plan on doing any other project with your other two brothers?
That could be. My brother Marvin, he is. It was a miracle that we did that project, because he is so consumed by what he does. His church, his school, and he doesn't have a lot of time. So knowing that, I don't know if that will happen, but if it does, we'll have a great time doing it.
Very good. Okay, you snuck one in there. Okay, good. Find a one here.
It's not really a question. I just want to say I'm here with my mom who just asked the question, and it's just like kind of surreal because when I was little, we would hear the Winans in my mother's house, car, VHS, cassette, on the way to church, on the way to school, everywhere was Winans, and we were just like, oh, when is this rain going to calm down? And it's so crazy because my husband and I now, will sing at churches or whatever, we'll sing the Winans. So now my children are like, I know exactly who Bebe is, and Marvin and Carvin, it's crazy. So just thank you guys for the wealth that you have put into our lives
Thank
for
you.
actual generations. It's amazing.
That makes me happy. That makes me happy. Thank you. Because, it was the same way for us. You have to understand. So Andre Crouch and various other artists, we used to hear all the time. And so, like, my mom was Tremaine Hawkins to us because she led all the Tremaine Hawkins songs in the choir. And so when we met Tremaine, it was like, wow. I know your songs, but that's so important for as a parent. My father wouldn't allow us to listen to nothing in the house other than gospel music.
Yeah.
And so now as an adult, I understood it's not that he was totally against any other genre of music, but he just wanted positive words coming into our ears all day long. And so I understand now he was building a foundation for us. So when the wind started to blow, we would know what to grab onto.
Baby, who can you write this book with? Lessons from My Father. Because I think when you talk about your dad,
Oh, man.
I get so much wisdom from it.
And he was funny. If I wrote, because I have a book coming out, but if I wrote a book about my father, I would write it with my brother Marvin.
Okay.
And there's one thing my father was hilarious. He was hilarious. And so I was in the car with a friend, and I told him this story about my father, and he said, no. And I called Marvin right then and there. I said, Marvin, tell him about Federals, which was like a Sears Roebuck store in Detroit. And he went to laughing. I said, because he don't believe me. He said, all right. Long story short, my father told my brothers, Marvin and Carvin, it was their birthday, go to Federals, pick out some clothes, and I'm going to buy it for y'all. And you have to understand, my father, the definition of my father was the weather, because that's how his mind would change. It would change like the weather.
Really?
Oh, man. He would say this, and then the next minute, I ain't doing that. So they went to Federals and picked out all these clothes, and my father was a barber as well. And so they went back to the barber shop. Dad, we got the clothes. So my father stopped working and came over to the thing. He was at the cash register. And my brother, because in those days, it was those cash registers that made noise.
Yes.
Ching, ching. So Marvin said, Bebe, we stood at that counter, and I knew this is not going to happen. And he said every time the lady would ring up, I think, ching. He said he looked at my father's eyes, and my father would jerk back, like, what? Ching. And so before the lady was finished ringing, Marvin had backed all the way almost outside of the door. And my brother Carvin stood there like, you don't know no better than this? And my father and the lady said, that'll be $112. He said, $112 in Federals? Put all that back.
Oh, no, did he?
Didn't buy nothing.
Oh, Lord. have mercy.
Cheating. Just like, what? No. So
Oh, my gosh.
my father.
Oh, that's terrible.
It's terrible, but that was him. And I'll leave you with this one. He said, I want all my children to get married, fall in love, and get married. He said, but now if it don't work, I want you to find the place you fell in love and get up.
That's actually kind of dope.
That was my father.
I thought you were going to say, you can't come home.
No. Just find that place you fell and get up.
And get up. Bebe Winans, everybody! Love you, man.
Love
Love
you
you.
always.
Indeed.